I'm not gonna blame you. We were truly watching the Sekiro Bloodborne Team version 3 years ago. I mean, I'm not even the biggest fan of From Software. The only game I finished was Elden Ring? Yeah, it was Elden Ring. But if we could just rewind 3 years ago when COVID was just beginning to calm down, then the Chinese dev says, no, not enough. At that time, honestly, I couldn't tell if Legion Studios is a fan of From Software or they were just simply trying to catch that game science black myth Wuchang level of success. You know, like classic Asian parents want us to keep up with the Liu or the Nguyen or some sort. And honestly, ever since that moment, I have been just hoping that game would take an exit store, at least having these much people agree with me on this one. Until it completely changed. It goes from Jamie Oliver's egg fried rice to my mom's egg fried rice. Sit down, I'ma tell you a story. The story of Wuchang Fallen Feathers is set in a plague-ridden, demon-infested version of the Ming Dynasty in China, specifically the late Ming Dynasty, a period characterized by immense turmoil and political instability. The game injects a significant amount of supernatural horror into this historical setting, featuring demons, vengeful spirits, and gothic monsters. You'll play as Wuchang, a skilled pirate warrior who awakens with amnesia, unable to recall who she is or what is happening. You know, a basic hero opening. She's also contracted something called the feathering disease. Now, this isn't just a chic new fashion accessory. This disease begins with feathers forming on her limbs. As it progresses, it causes memory loss, madness, and eventually leads to a monstrous transformation. Imagining the beautiful rot on Millennia in Elden Ring, but this time, I can show you a picture without violating anything. And of course, we need to find a cure, but given what's not, these feathers will also give you strength. Like, I hate the way that I like how sick I am. And also, she lost her memories. She needs to find out who she is, rather than just going to the doctor. People around her would act like the disease will spread to them, so they need to fight her off, rather than listening to social distancing. Now, talking about the gameplay. Wuchang Fallen Feathers is described as an action RPG that leans heavily into the Soulslike formula. This means you can expect interconnected maps, methodical combat, and a steep penalty for button smashing. The game encourages players to master dodging, parrying, and exploiting enemy openings. Now step away from whatever From Software games that you were comparing it to in the past. It was described to be faster, smoother, and more about forcing them to swing at you, building those charges. Quote unquote IGN. Well, if that's the case, then it's okay for me to be hit. I don't have my hands on this game yet, but does that make the game easier? Which is what From Software will never do. Also, instead of simply dumping points into core stats, you fill out a skill tree for everything from your weapons to upgrading your flask. Specific stats are gained through the armor you equip. This means choosing armor is not just about fashion or core stats, but also about picking the right resistance, burn, corruption, depending on the enemies you face. Resting at shrines known as entering their dream still respawns defeated enemies, a classic Souls-like element. Interestingly, one instance of entering the shrine resulted in an unexpected boss fight, adding an unpredictable element, which I like. The game will be released on the 24th this month, and by this time, all the famous YouTubers and media had got their hands on the game and gave kinda positive reviews. Well, that is the good thing. That's a good sign, right? But let me get this straight. You clicked on this video because you are aware of their bad reputation in the past, right? And here you are, wanting to know more about the game because you simply can't believe how a game went from Sekiro Taobao version to a magnificent, feather-spreading, mouth-drooling experience. Well, is it some kind of a plan the developers want to set us into? Many people believe that the now infamous 18-minute gameplay trailer was more like a flashy audition tape that sent straight to potential investors.
Imagine what we could do if someone actually gave us money.
And honestly, it worked. The game wasn't even out yet, and people were already talking. And you just know the publishers were watching, sniffing out the potential, both for game development and the juicy marketing buzz. Of course, Legion Studio wasn't about to let their passion projects sink into the abyss of forgotten. They ghosted us for about 2 years, and then bam! Reemerge at Xbox Summer Game Fest 2024 showcase with a total revamp. And was that a little 505 Games logo shining in the corner? Now we look at the comment section. There you go. 360 different, like the whole 18 minutes gameplay trailer disaster. Never happened before. Are they having amnesia of some sort? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to discredit their efforts, but something about this unusual, calculated rollout feels off. Like, this wasn't just damage control, this is media manipulation on expert mode. Legion Studio isn't playing around, they are milking every narrative angle. Imagine
breaking free from Sekiro's shadow, or a Soulslike but from China.
they knew exactly what headlines gamers and journalists would bite on, and they made sure to stay relevant until the launch date. And let's be real, they probably had a solid vision from day one. This wasn't some, we fired the whole dev team and rebuilt the game. That 18-minute trailer, possibly a strategic sacrifice. We call this fail forward marketing, like failed so hard at first, get everyone's attention, then rise up with quality. People will forget what happened. This strategy isn't new, it's been used in many industries, and hey, I think it's working here too. The benefits are obvious. You see more buzz, bigger reach, stronger narrative arc, but also it creates more skepticism, higher expectations, and unforgiving gamers on their redemption arc. Once the audience accepts your failure and roots for your comeback, they expect you to deliver, like really deliver. They didn't forgive you for you to disappoint them again. You get one redemption arc, maybe two. Try a third one and you're just sad. Like when I gave my mom my first 8 out of 10, she was so mad. But if I did it again next month, she would be madder. But if I did it the third time, she would just gave up entirely. You see the point. But hear me out. Did Legion Studio just create a bad precedent? I honestly don't know. Only time will tell. But I can see it happening if this game goes big. So now, given your take, what's your take? Do you see this as a redemption arc worth rooting for? Or are you giving it a side-eyed, waiting to see if they flop again? Are you buying the game day one? Or you having Game Pass? Or just sitting back with popcorn and judgment like the rest of us? Or maybe you're just mildly curious, like me? If you do, please subscribe. I will have my Asian mom to review this game when it comes out. See ya!